Traveling along the sea, Abutsu notices a flock of black birds resting on the white sand and composes one of her most famous poems, comparing the black and white of the birds with the act of writing. Black as sticks of ink, these cormorants pose against the white sand. If I had the skill, I would draw them. On the 24th, she mentions the brilliantly colored leaves at Kodo no Mama Shrine. She says, "The hills sheltered them from stormy winds. Deep in the mountains, they rested at a small village at the foot of the next mountain. O moon of the dawn, tell them in Kyoto that I have crossed Seiya no Nakayama, where clouds come to rest." The party approaches Futama Bay, and seeing Mount Fuji in the distance, Abutsu notes the absence of smoke from the volcano. No trace of smoke escapes from Fuji's peak. Where might it have drifted to? On the 27th, they cross 15 channels of the Fuji River just after daybreak. How cold it is. The sleeves of my winter robe freeze in the wind off the river, whipping across the snow to Fuji River. On the 28th, the party passes the Izu provincial seat and follows the Hakone Road through the mountains. Though we hurry over the mountains at Hakone like jeweled boxes, dawn comes slowly through banks of clouds in the sky. On the 29th, Abutsu watches fishermen heading out to sea. The morning mist hangs over cresting waves, hiding the tiny boats of the fishermen. She thinks about where she is and how she got here. Had my husband lived, I would not have known this wild spray from the breakers, nor experienced these trials so far from Kyoto. The third section of the Nikki is concerned with her residence in Kamakura and her time as she awaits the decision of the tribunal. She states that she lived in a place called Tsukikaje Valley, close to the sea at the foot of the hill. She says, "It was a dreadfully windy spot, but it was peaceful and lonely. The murmur of the waves and the sighing of the wind in the pines was the only sound." During her waiting, she corresponds with many friends and exchanges waka, which was the custom among the courtiers. Toward the end of the third month in Kamakura, she states that she has suffered 2 bouts of the kind of fever that children have. She says, "Dazed and exhausted, I rose before dawn and settled in front of the sacred image and recited Lotus Sutra with all the energy I could muster. Were I to vanish, carried away on the wind, who would watch the faint smoke, not even as dark as a fisherman's seaweed burning?" The last section of the Nikki is a long poem called a chaka of alternating 5 and 7 syllable lines. It is filled with political references appealing to the judges at Kamakura for a favorable verdict. Abutsu died before the court rendered a verdict which was favorable to her son. She is said to be buried near the rear gate of the Ishoji Temple in Kamakura, where a stupa remains to mark her passing. In Kyoto's famous Festival of the Ages, Abutsu is remembered at the Shingon Temple grounds, where her memorial dominates the garden.